Hi, my name's Anthony Simcox, and today we're going to be talking about digital manufacturing in education. As we move into the 21st century, digital technology has provided us with a vast array of new products and ideas to help enhance our daily lives. These technologies are likely to present both opportunities and challenges in the evolution of education and teaching in schools. Teachers and students now have ready access to a vast array of online information and knowledge. Facts and information are available on almost any connected device. This could be seen to be bringing a paradigm shift in the purpose and priorities of education, away from memorising and understanding facts with the teacher as the sage, towards understanding concepts and processes with the teacher acting as a guide and other students as collaborators to gain knowledge. This means teaching and learning is able to focus more on conceptual why and how, and less on factual what and where. These technologies have also brought about another paradigm shift. Because online resources are a two-way street, not only can students consume content from the online sources, but as discussed by Wheeler, through the various publication sources including social media, blogs, wikis, online libraries and even personal web spaces, they can also become content creators. This means that the students can now be an active part of the online learning community rather than passive consumers of knowledge. And with our modern society moving to a creative economy, the skills acquired in education to be creators are a vital component of economic growth. So cultivating creative thought to solve problems is very important. However, until recently, content creation was mainly confined to online and digital worlds. Physical representation of digital content was often limited to those few with access to the resources, which for the majority were cost or time prohibitive. Not only did this limit students to a mainly virtual contribution to the online community, it also meant they were unable to access the iterative process of physical experimentation and refinement, which is vital to how people learn. This has all changed recently with more readily available methods of moving digital creation to the physical world. We now have cost-effective access to both subtractive or additive manufacturing and rapid prototyping equipment and resources. This allows creations to be moved from the digital to the physical world, and in doing so provides students with the ability to interact with their creations, and importantly for learner engagement and self-efficacy, to have a physical and tangible representation of their learning successes. The access to cost-effective digital manufacturing techniques has also opened the doors for teachers to develop resources and tools in the form of models and illustrative examples to help support their teaching and provide learners with physical objects they can engage with. So with the recent advances in cost-effective digital manufacturing, it is becoming a more pervasive and useful addition to the teaching and learning environment. So what are some of the teacher benefits of digital manufacturing? Well, typical applications in teaching are very quickly identified in technology and STEM subjects. For example, in science subjects, digital manufacturing allows teachers to provide conventional or customized models of concepts they're teaching. A few examples of these include, in chemistry, models of molecules and atoms from which they're made can be provided as physical teaching aids, and these can be customized for the experimental concept being taught. In physics, objects can be made which allow the study of principles of displacement and buoyancy, and by changing the digital model and remanufacturing, the effect of changes to the object can be studied. In biology, models of microscopic cells and organisms can be produced to aid students in identifying these under a microscope in environmental experiments. And in mathematics, teachers can produce customized geometry shapes or model components to help illustrate the concepts of geometry. However, the teaching applications for digital manufacturing go beyond the technology and science subjects into many others, including those which may have previously been non-technical. For example, art students can now create 3D versions of their illustrations and bring their artwork to life. In drama, props and even entire sets could be created to support a school production. In geography, 3D maps and mountain cross-sections can be made to illustrate the concepts of the formations of continents and land masses. And in history, historical tools and artifacts can be recreated to help students visualise what life might have been like in the past. One of the major benefits to teaching for digital manufacturing is in student engagement and the ability to provide differentiated learning for students with varying learning styles. Digital manufacturing enables students to become hands-on and interactive with their learning. All of the examples above provide this type of student engagement. However, even in a subject such as English, 3D objects such as puzzles or jigsaws could be created which use the rules of grammar or spelling to help solve. So what types of digital manufacturing are available to teachers? Digital manufacturing and rapid prototyping tools can be divided up into two broad categories. These are subtractive manufacturing and additive manufacturing. Subtractive manufacturing takes a raw material and selectively removes parts of the material to form a shape. Examples of cost-effective subtractive manufacturing include vinyl cutters, engraving machines, CNC routers and CNC lathes. Subtractive manufacturing has a number of advantages, including often being quick to manufacture and lower cost of raw materials. However, many machines have safety, environmental or operational constraints which could prevent them from being used in a normal classroom setting. Additive manufacturing takes a raw material and deposits it layer by layer into a 3D shape. Examples of cost-effective additive manufacturing includes sheet lamination, vat photopolymerization, and material jetting. These last two are also referred to as forms of 3D printing. Additive manufacturing machines are reasonably safe and cost-effective in the classroom. However, they are generally slower than that of subtractive manufacturing. Of the two categories, the most suitable for general purpose teacher and classroom use is likely to be the additive manufacturing in the form of 3D printing. So what is involved in 3D printing digital manufacturing? Digital manufacturing is broadly a two-stage process. First, a digital 3D model needs to be sourced or created, and secondly, the model needs to be transferred to a 3D printing device. So, how do we source the 3D models? There are a broad range of pre-designed digital models suitable for educational use available free online. Some of these are shown on this page. These are very useful as either complete models, while some can be used as starting points for customized models. There's also the option of 3D scanning. 3D model files can be produced by scanning a physical object. There are a range of cost-effective 3D scanners available, including hand scanners and rotating platform scanners. Files from 3D scanning generally require more intimate knowledge of 3D design software if modifications to the model outside of straight scaling are required. In general, 3D scanners will either come with their own software or will use the scanning functionality of some of the more popular 3D design software suites. For most teachers, the 3D scanning hardware options, which are likely to be affordable, are not highly accurate, and all of them are optimized for objects of a particular size and finish. However, they do provide a starting point into 3D modeling. Whether creating a model from scratch or modifying files from another source, at some stage being able to use 3D computer-aided design software is likely to be required. Modelling software comes primarily in two forms: subdivisional modelling and parametric modelling. Subdivision modelling takes 3D primitive shapes such as cylinders or spheres and allows the user to push and pull the shape to form the 3D model. In a similar way, a sculptor would sculpt clay. This type of software is also good for manipulating 3D scanned model files and would be a good approach for people already comfortable in creating a real-world 3D object. Parametric modelling generally starts with a 2D shape or drawing and converts it to a 3D shape. This shape can then be combined with or cut out of other shapes to form the model. Parametric modelling software often describes the shapes created as a set of mathematical parameters, and because of this, some also allow the user to directly enter mathematical equations to generate shapes. This type of modelling is good for people who have less experience with real-world 3D object creation. A number of software platforms provide both types of modelling. There's a wide variety of 3D design software available, including very good free offerings. Some of this software more commonly used in education are shown here. These include 123D Design, Tinkercad, SketchUp, Blender, and more recently 3D Paint. 3D design software has evolved a great deal from the early days of CAD software, which required in-depth training to operate, and many are now very intuitive. However, all require some familiarity with their use and, more importantly, a practiced understanding of the conceptual difference between 2D and 3D drawing and representation. One of the best ways to achieve this familiarity is by following some of the online or built-in tutorials available and practicing with the software. Some good sources of tutorials for those pieces of software that don't have inbuilt tutorials, which we'll use a little bit later, are shown here. So the second part of 3D model creation is using a 3D printer to produce the 3D object. There are a wide variety of 3D printers using a number of technologies and materials. The two technologies most commonly employed in educational 3D printing are jetting and polymerization printers. In general, printing software will be required to enable 3D design files to be turned into the native G-code understood by a 3D printer. This software will usually also have the ability to let you change scaling, modify print resolution, and estimate print time and raw material usage. This is useful when a design ends up bigger or smaller than expected, or if the print time becomes prohibitive. Some 3D printers are able to print autonomously once provided with a compatible 3D G-code file. For these printers, any post-design modifications like scaling needs to be done in the printing software before submitting to the printer. In some cases, the printer requires a computer to be connected to the printer, and printing is then performed directly from the printing software. The first type of 3D printer is the polymerization or stereolithography printer, which uses a liquid polymer resin which is exposed to a focused UV laser light. This causes the polymer to solidify. The laser draws the object in layers as the object is gradually withdrawn out of the liquid bath to allow the next layer to be formed. These types of printers are generally an order of magnitude higher in cost than filament printers, as are their consumables. However, the resulting print is usually of higher quality than the filament printers, and there's little raw material waste.